Let all creation can sing hallelujah. Hey! Let all creation shout. For he is the one who made heaven and earth. Hey! And there is no other. Hallelujah.
He's the great I am.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the great I am. He is the great I am.
Yes.
Do you know?
Oh, he is the great I am.
He's the great I am. He is the great I am.
Do you know?
Welcome to I Am Sent. My name is Pr.Marlon, and we're so glad to have you here with us today. And this is our first episode of I Am Sent. I Am Sent is a fully dynamic television program that is dedicated to spreading the transforming message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And of course, you have lots in our show. From time to time, we're going to have interviews. We're going to have extremely interesting conversations, roundtable talks. We're also going to be having items that you can use for the family. So you're in the right place, you're in the right space, and it's time to just relax and spend the time with us. We're going to definitely take you through in helping you to understand more about family life, marriage, and how it is we can work these things out. You know, many people, they don't believe in marriages these days because they always say it always ends. But I'm here to tell you that it's not so, because there's a formula to keeping a family. There's a formula to keeping a marriage. There's a formula for keeping good relationships. And you're going to learn all of that right here on the I Am Sent.
He's the great I am.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the great I am. He is the great I am.
Yes.
Today with us in studio, we have a very special guest. Our guest is one that is a budding entrepreneur. She's a mother of 3, and she also has cooking skills that is absolutely unbelievable. In order to understand this, you would actually have to taste what she can do. But I'd like to welcome our guest this evening, and it's none other than Latoya Guy. Pleasant good evening to you, Latoya, and welcome to our show.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, I know that you have definitely a story for us, and I mean, I've had the opportunity of hearing bits and pieces of it, but now you're here with us, and you have the opportunity to share your story that can definitely impact the lives of others. I want to take us directly to a point of the beginning, so to speak, and you as a child growing up, you know, tell us a little about what it would have been for you.
Well, as a child growing up, my childhood growing up was the best, right? We would go to the public pool, which is on Diamondville Boulevard, because I used to live Diego Martin in Diamondville, really nice place and everything. So our childhood was like riding bikes, scooters, skateboarding, everything you think about. And we had a park behind our house, so we used to just jump the wall, just go in the park, fly kites, anything you can think about for our childhood, right? It was awesome, right? And then at have times, you know, we would sneak away, egg people's house, right? So, you know, it was awesome. It was fairly fine to me.
But what it is in that childhood, apart from just the other stuff that you made mention of, that caused it to be one that you said was really, really good? Is there any specifics that you could identify for us? One thing that you probably enjoyed the most?
Growing up with friends, right? It was just us on that block, right? Just growing up with them, you know, even though we got older and everybody go to separate way and stuff and things like that, but that time of having that close friends bond, kind of family, kind of, you know, because we do everything together. You can think, you know, and everything together.
So have you ever gotten caught, like in that point of time where you are egging somebody's house, as you say?
No, because we'll do it in the night, late in the night, run away to do such things, and you know, and then, you know, it'll be some different story in the morning when the person come to me to don't have egg on it or stuff like that.
And then you'd probably hear a whole lot of...
Well, most of the time we don't do it in our street.
Oh.
So you wouldn't really know. it is mostly being a 2 or 3 street over, we would cause that kind of comments.
Well, I certainly hope that whoever is had experienced that is not listening now, because now they would have found the culprit as it relates to that.
Yeah.
But as you began to grow, as a young girl, maybe school-wise and so on, give us a little idea of how that was for you.
For school, I was much of a loner when I was in school. I didn't really mingle much with other students. I was more in my class, just going through the day, doing the subjects, just trying to get it over with and go straight home. I never was the type to say straight, go anywhere, or run away with other students to go in river or skip school. No, I wasn't that type of person.
And what else made it that different for you as an individual? I mean,
I don't know.
You stayed by yourself. What caused that? Because you're talking about during your childhood days, you were very active and you and friends were going together. But now here you are.
Yeah, it wasn't that kind of how to explain that, but it wasn't that kind of vibe that you grow up with these people. Yes, there's new people you meet and stuff and things like that, but I never was the type of person to you have to be somebody for me to be drawn to you, to want to be friends with you. In that kind of place, if that make any sense.
But is it that you there was something that took place between that childhood and the school days that
No, well, born and grown up in Diego Martin and then moved from there to another place because we moved from Diego Martin to St. Anne's and from St. Anne's to San Juan. So, all of that could have happened that, because you don't have your childhood friends around anymore. And, it just, I don't know.
You just moved from one point to the next.
Yeah.
Excellent, I see. But I was looking at, again, in your schoolhood or school days, going to school and stuff like that. Did you complete school? Did you finish school? And how was that for you?
Well, I didn't do all that good, but I did complete school. And after school, I went straight into working, right? And I worked for Nestles for a while, until I get pregnant with my son. And then I stopped, so I could, take the time to rest and everything for the baby, right? But after a while, I don't know, it just go with the flow and however, whatever happen.
So that's quite interesting that you said you started. So that was your first kid?
Not really. My son is actually my second child.
Okay.
My first one, I had a miscarriage with.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so but that one, we're talking now about the son. Or what was that? Or even where the miscarriage was? I mean, how did that affect your life?
The miscarriage, it did affect me because it was my first baby and I was really looking forward into, seeing where that would have gone. But I guess God had other plans. So he did what he had to do, so I eventually had to move on and be strong and continue on until I got pregnant with my son, and I was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake as the first one.
Right.
So I use precaution on certain things, and I'm not going to work hard to stress out my body and something like that. Yeah.
And that's a quite interesting thing because many times, a lot of people do not understand exactly how it is or what a woman goes through in pregnancy. And I mean, that's in itself was quite touching there when you stated that, you had that miscarriage. But now that you had your son, I mean, how was that pregnancy for you? What did you do? Anything specific in there that, or anything kind of off that, you were? No,
I didn't do anything different really. Other than when it's time for him to come, he didn't want to come.
Seriously?
Why you don't want to come out?
So what is the case of inducing of labor? Or
they tried that and he still didn't want to come.
Wow.
So they had to go to C-section.
Okay.
For him, so he had to come that way.
Right.
Right?
But how was that experience?
It was an experience. It was a painful yet numbing experience because the painful part is when they inject the
Needle.
epidural in
Yes.
right and then you numbing and you don't feel anything but you're up to see everything.
Yes.
So it was an experience and it was a really good one.
And
Yeah.
that is
it wasn't
important.
a bad one. No,
that is
it wasn't
important.
a bad one.
That despite how it was, you felt that level of yes, care, responsibility, and all that kind of thing. And so you moved on from pregnancy. And
Right.
how was your moving into adults? But you have, before we go there, you have three of them.
Yes.
I guess they would have come at different points in
Each
time.
one of them, yes, came as cesarean. All
Seriously?
of them didn't want to. I have no idea what went on. They just probably didn't want to come out. They probably was comfortable which part they were. So each one of them came through cesarean.
Understand?
But most important, they was healthy, and that is most important.
And that is good. And
Yeah.
that is good. But so we moved on from there, and then you're moving now into, because we touched a bit on the childhood, we touched on, your teen when you began going to school. But now
Right.
you're getting out of school, and give us the transition, how that was for you.
Coming out of school,
Yes, and going into adulthood.
scary.
Seriously.
Yeah, adulthood is scary because it's not exactly entirely where you probably think about, as a child, you'll be like, I can't wait to get to be an adult, to be able to do adult stuff. You understand?
Yes.
But, it have lessons to be learned, you would experience a lot of things, So it has its challenges, it has its good and its bad. But I just go with it and, however we just try and do whatever we can as it go. I think the best I can really explain.
Understand. But what about the adulthood now has made a difference in your life? I mean, coming out of that school.
Right.
point.
So coming out of school again, during my children and stuff being around, I was a person who used to hang out a lot. I used to lime, I used to drink, I used to smoke, and that was like a kind of spiraling type of thing, and it had this point of time as just like, I always feel empty, and you're always looking for some kind of something to try and fill that emptiness, and until hanging out in a point of time, hanging out with friends and stuff, and I end up getting sick really, really bad, right? Bad to the point that I fainted back to back.
Wow.
Faint in a way, it's like, what going on? It's like, Lord Father, when you're sick, you start to call on God when you're
Yes,
sick.
yes,
Anytime,
of course.
any kind of problems, you're calling on God. God will say, make me feel better, so I would change. And most of the time we don't change, we go back into the same kind of.
Yes.
But that point when I started to feel that type of way, I'm not feeling like myself, and I'm feeling like, I just like, what, I need to change. I need to change, and the person who, as I said, person who I would call to is my aunt. She is the one who is one of my rocks. I will call her, say, Aunt, I'm not feeling well, I don't know what's going on with me, I'm feeling really sick. And she would say, Toya, go open your Bible, Psalms 91, keep reading that every night, read that every night. You understand? And I maybe the stand to say that, you know what, I need to change this. I need this not working for me. So I make the step to say, you know what, I'm gonna try to follow God, I'm gonna try to get serious in it. I might succeed today, tomorrow, next month, but
Yes.
I will be working on it. So I make the step to say, you know what, I'm gonna get baptized, I'm going to go to church often, you understand, get the word, do my research, read, pray, you understand? And so far doing that, I'm not saying that I don't get little fallbacks. I'm human. I do make mistakes and everything, and I will go to God and I will, admit to my mistakes and so on and stuff. But so far, so good. It has been going good for me, and I think I'm gonna stick there.
So you made mention that, there was one point in time that you were lying. So I assume that you had a lot of times that you and friends would go out and lie,
Yes.
you would drink, you would so on.
Yes.
One of the things I'm wondering, is it a case whereby, it's something that you particularly had to drink, maybe something was put in your drink, or so do you think it was along those lines?
No.
No.
It was not along those lines because, again, the friends who I was hanging out with, they were like family. So they wouldn't do something like that. That was just the point of time that I needed to make that change. And I guess God was doing his thing as he have a sense of humor and certain things, so he did deal with it.
Right.
So it was just, that time for me to make that step to change, or so I'll continue going the way, being sick, and it might be worse than how I was affected.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why it is I ask, there's an old saying that friends carry you, but they don't bring you back.
Yes.
And so I was just wondering, exactly what kind of friends, because now we have a big contrast from your childhood days where you were always along or among your friends as a
Right.
child. Then you moved into that teenage years where you were at school and you were just a loner, basically. So you weren't interested in anyone or having any friends of the sort. And then we're coming now into the world of work, so to speak, and adulthood. And you're back in that space where you have a lot of friends and you have
But
people.
not much. It's only I only had a few friends.
Okay.
I didn't have a lot of friends. I could count my friends on my hand, right? But no, they were not the type of friends like that. They accept that I made the choice of not wanting to do certain things anymore, because I explained to them that, I have a lot of things changing with me, and I no longer interested in liming in bar, liming on the side of the road, drinking, smoking and stuff and things like that. So, and they respect that. They respect that. They want to continue living that life until hopefully one day they may change, but I never was really interested in that kind of worldly things, but I did it because, your friends, you're trying to impress your friends in a kind of way.
Understand. When we get back, we'll have a bit more of what Latoya has to share with us. But stay tuned and we'll be right back with I Am Sent.